we go. I just started crying a little because I thought I wouldn't see you, Gil. I was very emotional. I was sobbing, and then here you are. Hi, Gil.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
I have arrived apologetically.
Oh, you have arrived. He's arrived, but we're so excited to have you. And I just wanted to jump in. As I was thinking about talking to you, I try not to think about things too much because then it just gets, you know how that gets when you think too much, I think. But I was thinking this morning, and I hate to tie you to this, but you do dissection. So I think of death. I don't think of, and death is not to me a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a thing that's happening. And one of my favorite quotes is, and I'm not going to paraphrase this beautifully or perfectly, is from the Tao Te Ching. People are so busy living, they forget about death. And as I get, in my 50s, I'm starting to think about it. Not, again, a negative way or like, oh my God, I'm dying. But like, for me, I believe I'm getting ready for something, for my skin suit to be gone. So anyway, that was like a big... So I'm just going to dive in and say that I'm guessing after 29 years in the dissection lab, that there's no way for you to forget about that.
No, and now my subjects of study are often younger than me on the table, and I'm like, oh darn, yeah, I've turned it around now, and it's we all have some our sense of mortality provoked on occasion, some more often than others. But I have to say, it was more like when a person my age in our family passed away that I was like, oh, this is getting real here, and I better get busy. So it actually just threw me into a state of frenzied productivity for the past several years. Like, well, better today, because tomorrow's not promised.
It really isn't. And I just, again, for me, just with what you do, I would just think that would be like I said, that solid reminder. And I want to talk a little bit about your membership, because I think that's really cool. And Live with Will. So I'm just going to give you a chance to talk a little bit about your membership, because you have hundreds of hours of dissection available for people to watch online. So could you just tell us a little bit about your membership?
Yeah, sure. I have a deep commitment to accessible information about the human body. And I was like, well, what if I just put everything I've ever done and everything I'll ever do in the future into a big pile, sort it nicely, offer continuing education credit for those who need it. So now we do have over 250 hours of approved CEs for NCB, TMB, and then a whole handful of other organizations, Pilates, yoga, etc. And so the idea of the site is that you can come and go as you please. It is a membership site, but it's super easy to cancel. And if you can't figure it out, I'll do it for you. And the goal is to just make it so that you could go in for $15 and binge watch if you want to do it that way, or you could be a regular and keep coming. We do have a 1 month thing that doesn't recur for those people who would rather not click 3 times to cancel. Because people are like, why can't I just click one button and cancel? And it's a website. You have like taxonomy. I'm sorry. So they'll ask me to do a form, and I do so happily. I'm not offended when people come and go, and that's the idea of it. And it really is a pretty, I think, a pretty amazing resource certainly for the hands-on professionals, if not anybody who's interested in their own form. I've had people watch all the content on the site twice, and they get really smart when they do so. It's very watchable, I have to say, because I edited all that content. I mean, I shot 200 hours worth of video just for the A to Z project and the 1,400 videos, and I edited them all. And I was terrified when I was standing before that task, thinking, I can't stand to watch myself talk for that much, but it's actually not watching me. It's watching me dissect while I narrate it. And that's actually pretty compelling. And I found it compelling, and I was shocked because I kept learning. I did it, and I'm still learning from it. And if I'm still learning from it, I figure anyone else would be too.
That's a great way to look at it. That's one of the things I love about a lot of the teachers is that they're very honest and open about the fact that they're still learning, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
so true. I mean, it's
Oh my
impossible.
gosh. On what was it, Saturday, Leslie Kamenoff was staying here with me. He's a yoga teacher of repute and a friend. And we were trying to pick out slides for yesterday's Live with Gil, where we did a diaphragm salon. And now this is a guy who's been, studying breathing in the diaphragm for 40 years, has worked with thousands and thousands of clients and students of his work. And still, we were both like bugging our eyes out at these pictures that I took in the last dissection that I did. And both of us learning on the fly while we're looking at the pictures, and we're thinking, these are deep topics. It takes a while. You build up your foundation and you keep asking questions. If you just sort of settle for information, well, you're not really on a learning path. I don't believe anything, so I have to poke at it and cut it up again upside down, and then cut it up with my eyes closed, and then cut it up under the table and over the table and flipped upside down and right side out. And then I'll see some more views, and I'll broaden my perspective on something or change my questions. I'll ask better questions, but if I come up with answers and then I'm done, I can just start digging the grave instead of,
Right.
that's when you're done.
So this is random and off track a little bit, but on track.
Good.
Said it. What did you learn about the diaphragm? What was something that you guys were like?
Well, for me, it can be a couple of things. Yesterday, actually, one of them was I was just gazing at the crura, which I had done this beautiful picture of, and I dissected in several images and video. I didn't show the video, I just showed the images from my videos. And I was like, why? I hadn't really spent time thinking about why is the right cruce so stout and longer than the left one. And it was so obvious to me when I saw the picture, why I hadn't had the thought forever is because it's yanking on that giant liver, and the liver's trying to go out your mouth. And the diaphragm is the parachute, right? You got this parachute and it's got these strings on it. And there's imagine if one side is going, whoa, and you got to go to keep it from floating away. That's why your right cruce is morphologically different than your left cruce, is because it's a adaptation to the differential placement of organs in your visceral space. So that was one thing.
Could you want to give another one?
I do want to give another one. I showed an image, and I learned this 2 weeks ago, not yesterday, but it was still freshly exciting for me, is that the left cruce of the diaphragm is pierced by the greater splanchnic nerve. So it actually has a little hiatus in it for the nerve. And it's like, well, we all teach there's the hiatus for the inferior vena cava, and there's the hiatus for the esophagus, and then the aorta goes between the legs of the diaphragm like a ship going under the Colossus of Rhodes. But then there's who knew that there was another perforation for the greater splanchnic nerve, which is a branch of the sympathetic trunk that services the autonomic plexuses over the aorta and into the organs. So that was pretty cool for me.
So here's one off of that, a spin-off of, is the body adapting. So, we're so resilient. The human body will adapt. Yeah. What is one of the things that, do you have a moment that really stands out to you where you saw someone adapting in a big way as you were dissecting, and you noticed something kind of extreme?
Oh yeah.
So tell us, give us one or two.
This is another one we were talking about yesterday. You're looking for the gallbladder and you're not finding it along the costal margin on the right side. Why not? Well, where'd the liver go? It's a little high. How high? It's as high as the scalenes on a person with a congenital missing lung. And their liver just filled in the place where the right lung was, and consequently the gallbladder was next to the heart. Right?
So
And
this is
so,
like, it's hard to wrap, like as I sit here and I think about all the pretty pictures of all the anatomy
yeah.
cards and all this stuff, sitting here with Gil Hedly saying that this is happening inside of someone. Now, I want to get sidetracked one more time. Does the person, does the body so amazing that
they
like,
probably
the person
didn't even know it.
know, right?
They might not have known it. Well, they might have known it because there would have been a differential inflation from right side to the left side. So
Right.
they would have known it. Whether they had a problem or not so sure that it would have caused too much problem, because these are sort of stretchy tubes and things, and they can go in different directions, like to adapt to pregnancy, et cetera. So we're pretty flexible. And elastic. We're like what is that? The Fantastic Four, and there's like a rubber person or something like
Yeah,
that.
I know what you mean. I don't know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all that. We're all rubber band people. Now, of course,
Give us one more. Give us one more.
one more adaptation. Oh my gosh, it's like all there is adaptation and variation.
Right. So good. Can you say that again?
So that's all there is adaptation and variation. The book is an attempt to describe on a page a text that each one of our bodies represents an iteration of, so that literally every single one of us has 100% perfect human anatomy in our own instance. And any attempt to sum that up will fail. Will be wrong. It's the books that are off, not the bodies. So when you look at a body and see variation, that's only relative to what we've decided should be perceived as the average, the mean, the norm. I hate those words, to be perfectly honest, because they give the impression that there's some priority or precedence to those mental constructs and numbers relative to reality. You're the reality. And people just totally fall for these mental constructs, and I don't see them. Yeah, we're all just really cool versions of humanity, and I'm just tired of the boxes, frankly, that we keep trying to jam ourselves into and then feel bad relative to because we don't fit. Who fits? We all fit on planet variability, but none of us fit in the friggin' book pages.
And that's on your, I noticed on your website, you say shared forms. I like that idea. It says on something about shared human form. You know, we have.
Oh yeah, exactly. We share kind of a platonic ideal or something, but the way we express it in the particular is perfectly legitimate. Impressively unique and delightful when accepted. And what a ride when you actually like stop fighting the gift and accept it and open it up and check it out and give thanks for it instead of like, I'm not that.
Comparing to other, there's no comparison. And I don't mean to be cheesy again, but and I say this all the time, I've repeated this just because it was one of those aha moments that seems so simple for me, but kind of deep is, you know, we have a pine tree and we call a pine tree, right? But how many different kinds of pine trees are there? And then if you look at one pine tree next to the next pine tree, you're never going to find the same pine, you know? So again, it's just like that. I think for the human being, and I always say, whenever I pull, and I say this in a loving way, you know, you never know what you're going to get when you pull down the sheet. Like a person in clothing looks one way, and you pull down the sheet and you're like, huh.
Yeah, nice.
And then you touch their skin and you're like from their face, I didn't think I'd get that, you know? And so I'm guessing when you're dissecting, you see the being on the table and then you start cutting and you're probably always like, I would guess, you don't know what you're going to get till you take off the skin.
It just goes all the way down to the bone. I mean, the personality expression is in every cell, right? So there's no escape from uniqueness when you go beneath the skin. The skin, we tend to, there's a certain identification that we make with our skin of each other, right? We read each other's skin and facial expressions and general outer shape without, maybe you can learn how actually to read past that and see that personality convey to that liver or convey to that stomach, see how those behaviors, what if say you're on a liquid diet of alcohol and your liver
I've been in my past.
yeah, your liver turns into a fibrotic NFL football, and your intestines get really small and narrow because they're not really working much. Your bladder gets huge, and your guts are reflecting you. I've seen this so many times.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
or whatever else, whatever else, and I think that's pretty cool. And I'm not saying that as a criticism. Even some people just need a drink. I don't know what to say, or need to smoke, or it might be the only pleasure in their life. Not to say there's not room to explore other avenues, and that would probably be helpful. And yet, I don't know what a person's given situation is or what drives people to be how they are. So I don't go in bodies to judge them. I go in then to appreciate them and to appreciate just nature doing its thing, because that's kind of what's happening. Nature's doing its thing, and we're either dancing with it or we're dancing against it, right? Because we do that. We bridle against our nature, and instead of cooperating with it, and then all that friction results in, well, we call them health problems, but basically you're just looking at the friction of a personality inside of a beautiful vessel.
So from what I'm getting is there's consistency to some degree, but there's not absolution. Like there's
consistent variation.
Consistent variation. I like
Yeah.
that.
And I appreciate the variation. And I'm talking about like doing the A to Z project. I had these two forms, Anna and Z, and having them on the table and going back and forth. I'd say I do, whatever, Z's pecs, and think, okay, got that down. And then you go to Anna's pecs and it's like, what? It's just different. I mean, when you really pay attention, and you're like, and then they're also different between themselves from one side to the other. So, because of course we're not completely equal on, we're not symmetrical that way. It's just not our thing. And Anna's patterns in her musculature, patterns of relationship of one named muscle group to another. I don't like to even talk about muscles. I like to talk about muscle tissue, because to me, it's just one big layer of muscle tissue. And then it has a lot of bubbles in it, a lot of compartments. And then we call them things, and we thingify them and make them objects in themselves. Well, okay, fine, do that. But while you're doing that, don't think that all those objects are stamped out of machine and are all going to look like, 400 yellow rubber ducks floating in your tub, and you can't tell one from another, because literally every pec major is different. Every pec minor is different. You cut them out very carefully. I cut them out very carefully, and I put all four of them out on a table side by side, and then just like grok that, take that in, like, can you deal with this, this level, this intensity of difference and variability, and stop thinking that we're supposed to be a picture.
Oh, that's good. That's good right there. It's really good. So, okay. So one of the things I jotted down too was, and I'm guessing it, and I think you've kind of answered this. I don't know how much deeper you could go on it, but every body feels different to me. every
Uh-huh.
body. I
Yeah.
mean, I've never touched two bodies that feel the same, from the
Perfect.
skin to what I can feel underneath.
Yeah. That's a
All
sign
of it.
you're paying attention. Yeah.
Never, not even
Mhm.
close, you know?
Yeah.
So when you're dissecting a body, would you say that the actual dissection part, I don't know how to, even what I'm looking for here, so I'm looking for your guidance, but is every dissection different? Can you
Yeah.
almost tell the state of the body by how it feels to go kind of sort through it?
I can't hardly believe after all these years that they're still being different. And I can't predict it. There are certain things I can predict. Like I've gotten better at, say, judging if I look at a form, living or dead. I kind of can. I know contours pretty well. Like I'm like a geologist of the human body, and I can see the contours and say, oh, they have you know, an endowment of adipose distribution. I bet you we are hiding a strong muscle form or a weaker muscle form. Like I can kind of ballpark guess at what I might find inside from the morphology on the outside. And I think that any massage therapist actually can do that as well. So it's not just my superpower. But you can pay attention and say what textural layer is giving the shape. The shape that we see at the surface. Where's that shape coming from? Artists do this too. Is that a bony prominence? Is that a fatty contour? Is that the viscera kind of protruding or expressing themselves into the space? You can ask those questions. Or in certain cases, sometimes it's the thinner layers that are giving the shape, where we have a scar, say, and you have, an involution of the skin that's not from the other layers. It's from a pinching at that layer. So you can kind of read the surface contours and get a ballpark estimate, of what you're going to see underneath it, but don't hold on too tightly to your story, because it's very often smashed to bits with the evidence.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That's the first time, as I've spoken with you a few times, that I've thought of that, and just how maybe you see the world a little different and see everything a little like a subtle difference.
I see
Imagining.
our bodies everywhere, and I feel that we would do well to identify our body on a grander scale. I think that by limiting our sense of our embodiedness to what's deep to the skin layer, we actually miss out on connection and an expansive sense of our consciousness. That we're walking around surrounded by externalized lungs and imagining it to be other and okay to just hack that shit down. Like, in other words, I just visited, I took my partner in all things, Rachel, and I just took my 89-year-old mother out to Yosemite and Kings Canyon next to Great Sequoia. And we saw these trees, the General Grant has a 40-foot diameter. It's the third most massive tree in the world. And you stand there and it goes straight up 40 feet wide and straight up into a cloud. And you're like, if you think that's not your body, you're missing out. If you can't see that we breathe out and the trees breathe in, and then they breathe out, and then we breathe in, and we're literally doing mouth to mouth with the planet here, and imagining it to be different than ourselves, imagining us not to be an expression of it. And all those kind of, again, more mental constructs and separations result in all manner of destruction and cruelty in our effort to save ourselves relative to the other. And it's like, what the heck? You just just shift your brain a little bit. Just pay attention to, look at a lung, dissect a lung and witness the trees inside of it. And then look out the window, dissect some blood vessels, and then look out of a plane window. It's the same stuff.
It's the microcosm and the macrocosm. So
Yeah.
one thing, oh God, you just got me so far in, I lost my spot.
That's good.
You got me so far in.
Now you're just floating.
I'm just
Ground
floating.
control to Major
Major
Diane.
Yes, David Bowie. So, but here was the thing that I want to bring up is one of the best statements that I've ever heard. I used to do these like philosophy classes and nature classes with this guy named Tom Brown. And
Oh, really?
yeah. Do you know who Tom Brown is?
I read his books.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
I did a
He's
bunch.
pretty intense.
Very intense. I did his first basic class, which is just edibles and stuff, plants in the wild. And then I did his hi everybody. And then Gil and I are just chatting. Then I did his 3 levels of philosophy. 1 is meditating on your own, 2 is meditating with a partner, and then 3 is meditating with a group. It was so freaking cool.
That's
But
awesome.
anyway, I was like 20 years old. It was a long time.
Did you go to New Jersey?
Yeah, to the Pine Barrens.
Oh, the Pine Barrens, yeah.
Yeah. I actually am still friendly with a person who lived there for like a couple years.
Oh, wonderful. I'm
like
jealous.
took care of the land.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the things that he always says is like nature's not a background. It's not like, ooh, that's pretty. It's how we live and how far removed we are, and how by having your hands on a living, breathing thing every single day, just like I would hope, I'm getting goosebumps that it would bring people back to nature. We are just these like lucky to be breathing, lucky to be spinning around on this planet in a galaxy that's 16 million light years wide. And when I see trees and stuff, that's how we're breathing. Like I just think people are,
yeah.
Holy shit, there's like the sun rising and setting 365 days a year. But anyways, we're getting off track.
And our hearts being trees, human body shaped trees, love to have their waves bouncing off like shapes. So when you're walking in the woods or forest and you feel good, your heart is expanding because the waves of your heart don't stop at its center. They emanate beyond your body, and as they do so, they're palpating. Your heart waves are palpating your environment. So if you're sitting in a square box, as I am right now, at a rectangular desk staring at a flat screen, your heart is palpating Euclidean geometric forms that are projections of our mind.
Oh my God, it's so deep. You're making me teary. It's like, what?
But when we're walking in nature, in what we call nature, we can't escape nature, but when we're walking in a non-Euclidean box and we go out, I can just walk out in my yard here and see a tree. I hope some of you can, even if you're in a city. Let your heart interact with that, and it will be so relieved to find a friend, because it doesn't really find a friend in a box, except if there's some other human in there, and then that's what we can offer each other. Despite the fact that we live in boxes, we can encounter one another, and your heart tree can thrill to that, unless you're too busy judging or deciding how it's not like you or how it's better than you or whatever.
Right. Wow. So
we're trying to own it, trying to own or possess what's in front of you, instead of just letting your heart
beat.
Feel.
So I mean, I feel like I'm getting a little high here. So again, I got lost because I just get like in it with you. Ugh. Okay, that's what I was going to say. So one of the things that I just want to point out to anyone who's listening is Gil dissects human bodies and has for 29 years been doing this. So this isn't just like hypothetical conversation. This is research conversation about what it is to really be human through the mind and thoughts and experience of someone who's been dissecting us for all this time. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. The thing is, you could dissect for 29 years and not learn any of this because you can just, I think it helped that I didn't go to school to learn anatomy. I got a PhD in ethics at the University of Chicago, which is actually an incredibly bizarre, abstract, mentally idealizing place. But it made me crave the not abstract. It made me crave the concreteness of the body and of movement and of embodiment, and incarnation is a word that I would have used as a theology person. You know, how do I actually get into the flesh, incarnate? You know, how do I get in? That would be maybe a theology word for embodiment, you know, incarnation. That was kind of like my goal, was to incarnate, because I just felt like a disembodied person. And I was. I had no relationship to my body except it's annoying. Why do I have it? It places demands on me that limit the amount that I can read in a day.
Yep. That's another Tao Te Ching thing, you know, the hardest thing is having a body. That's one of the points that's drawn out through there, I think. What else? I think I just feel like we've covered a lot of ground. I could keep going. I think I just am going to beg you to let me talk to you again, maybe in a few months again, and we'll leave it there.
I swear I'll be on time, especially if I get like 4 reminders.
I promise. One thing I just want to point out too is that you have dissection classes coming in July and August.
I do, and I have space in July.
You have space in July.
Yeah, I can take a couple more people.
Can take a couple more people. And can we talk price? Because when I saw the price, I was pleasantly surprised to spend time.
Actually, my colleagues are mad at me because I haven't raised my price in like 10 years. And because I'm kind of like started this stuff, people look to me to set the price. So I'm afraid it's going to go up next year for the sake of my colleagues. But yeah, the 6-day is $2,500, and we all know that the Federal Reserve has doubled the money supply, so that halves the buying power of that $25. And and so
it's 6 or 7 students per body.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
and you'll be teaching the classes in July and August.
I'm back. Yeah. July, August, and September. I'm teaching all the classes. Last year I had to farm out to my extremely competent friends the task of teaching my schedule, because I was editing those 1,400 videos and I just couldn't split my brain from the different tasks. And so,
you know what, though? I almost forgot to say that you and I will meet live and in person at the end of June, because we'll both be at Eric Dalton's Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I have 2 weeks to pound out that presentation. I literally just finished the nerve project. I told Eric, I'm going to be finishing up the nerve project. I'll talk on the nerve project because it's going to be front and center in my brain. And I just spent 21 straight weeks in the lab full time to do on one body with a focus on the nerve tree. And I filmed as I went, and it just concluded. When I got back from Yosemite, I had 1 day left of filming. I went in with my mom my son, his girlfriend, and completed the nerve project that day by basically laying out the abstracted tree on a beautiful white towel.
Oh, wow.
And then it just blew my mind. I mean, it's very hard to erase everything but the nerves. But for most of the project, it was the autonomic nerve project, because I knew that, I mean, the vagus is trending, and I knew that if I was going to do the nerve project and couldn't speak to the vagus nerve, I'd be wasting people's excitement if I couldn't speak to that. And so I literally mapped the vagus from the medulla oblongata all the way into the, celiac and superior mesenteric plexuses, and accounted for everything. So
I can't wait to see you present. I'm really very, very excited to meet you in person and hear what you have to say. I'm definitely counting the days. We're getting actually really close. You better get your stuff done. I don't have much time.
right. No, I'm going to be full on editing for the next couple of weeks, because I filmed for 97 days. I have 97 days of videos to pick through to make a 3-hour presentation. So but I've been thinking out loud about taking it on the road after I do it. I haven't done a tour since 2017.
Do it.
And I was
Come to
thinking,
Philadelphia.
I'll develop this nerve talk and probably do a little traveling with it.
Let me know if you want to come to Philly, Gil. I got you.
You're in Philly? I didn't realize.
Yes.
Awesome.
We'll get you squared away. Anyways, all right. We'll talk in a minute.
We will.
Everybody, thank you for joining Till You Rock, and I can't wait to meet you live and in person at Eric Dalton's Oklahoma City workshop. Bye, everybody.